Welcome to the Art of Classiness Podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood, and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
Today, we're diving back into one of our favorite segments, Am I the Asshole?, where people post their moral messes online and we get to judge whether they handled it with grace or totally lost the plot.
From dodging flaky friends to telling the truth about quirky behavior, we've got stories that test the limits of friendships, boundaries, and basic human decency.
So follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Let's do a little check-in. How are you, Debbie?
Oh, we're going Debbie today.
I felt it. I wanted to say it. Is that okay?
It is okay. I'll allow it. I'm doing great. This week has been really all over the place. Like, my days have either been jam-packed or I've had one or two things to do. And those days with like a low to-do list, I'm not getting anything done. I'm not doing it. If there's only one thing for me to do, I'm like, I'll get to it. But if I am jam-packed, like, I'll add it to that day's list, even though there's like no room for it. So I've been kind of having some feast or famine productivity days. And today was a feast day. Real busy. And I'm feeling energized and happy to be here.
Oh, that's good, because you were just talking about how fatigued you've been feeling.
Yeah. On the days when I don't have anything to do, I shouldn't say I don't have anything to do, but on my lower work volume days, I could like literally sleep all day. And then when I have to rise to the occasion, here I am, ready to go, full of energy. There are 2 volumes, and that's it.
That sounds like classic adulting to me.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Well, how are you? I know you've had a ton on your plate recently.
We're still packing things up. My calendar has just filled up so quickly because we're leaving in such a short amount of time. You know, we're trying to see friends, we're trying to see family, and managing, finding renters, getting the house in Oregon ready. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But we're excited. And I actually have a funny little story. I temporarily lost my ring. It was terrifying.
I can imagine.
So we went down to Houston for my nephew's birthday, and I was like, oh no, I left my ring in Austin. Fine. We get back to Austin. I don't leave the house for a couple of days, so I'm still not thinking about putting my ring on. And then we were in bed one night, and I was like, oh yeah, my ring. And I reach over to grab it where it's supposed to be on my ring holder, and it's not there. I'm like, okay, maybe it's in the bathroom. Nope. Maybe it's in the kitchen. No. Maybe it's in the office. No. Maybe it's in my backpack. No. My purse? No.
Oh my God.
And then I started to panic.
Yeah.
I was still like being super chill. And Seth was like, you know what? It's got to be somewhere. Let's just go to bed, sleep on it. I was like, you're stupid if you think I'm going to sleep right now.
Seth. In no world.
I was like, I'm not going to bed until I turn this house upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, did you look in the car? I was like, I don't know why I'd leave it in the car, but sure, go check. It was in the freaking car. So we actually had it with us the whole time in Houston, just sitting in the car.
Oh my God.
Which is almost worse.
Yeah.
But I was just so happy that we found it. I was doing really good about not having a meltdown right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
And I was super close. If he had come up the stairs and been like, it wasn't there, that probably would have been my breaking point. But he found it. Everything is good. And I was proud of myself for not flipping my shit right away. Progress.
Yeah. I lost my wedding band in my CRV and I've never seen it again.
Oh.
At the time, both of my rings were just a tiny bit loose, and I'm someone who fidgets. So while I was driving, just like with my thumb, I was kind of, rolling my rings around on my finger. And they came off my finger. So they were kind of just like in between my knuckle and my nail. And they fell off my hand mid-drive. And I heard a ding, like it hit metal. And so as I'm driving, I was like trying to reach for them, and I find my engagement ring, but I didn't know where my wedding band was. And we turned that car upside down. We all but removed the seats from the car.
Wow.
And I have never found it since.
That's wild.
It could just be living in the body of my car.
Yeah, like maybe it fell into a hole, just an opening.
Right. I mean, we've got the shop vac out, shop vaced all the nooks and crannies, couldn't find it. And at one point I was like, maybe I need to like take it in and have a professional detail. But I'm like, am I supposed to tell them that there is a diamond-studded ring in there? Like, do I tell them and pray that they do the right thing? Do I not say anything and pray that they do the right thing? Am I always going to wonder if they did the right thing? And at what point did it maybe just find the perfect crevice to fall into and just fell out of the car? Like I don't know. There's several $1,000s just either floating around my car or somewhere on the road in Austin, Texas.
Damn. Well, if you ever sell your car, get rid of it, like give it one more look through because like if you sell it and somebody else finds it.
I know.
Jackpot.
I know. Trust me. And what I would do to be able to sell that diamond-studded wedding band right now. So,
hey, add that to your to-do list on days you have nothing to do.
Just search my car and hope I can find thousands of dollars worth of diamonds. Yeah.
Treasure hunt.
Treasure hunt, literally. Yes. All right, well, it's that time of the month, and I'm not talking about periods.
Oh.
I'm talking about assholes. That's terrible. Can it? Okay, well, today's topic, we are reading more of your favorite Am I the Asshole Reddit threads. This is where Robin and I choose a friendship-specific Reddit submission asking the age-old question, Am I the asshole? So we'll each present a story, and then we'll discuss and declare, were they the asshole?
Yes. Should I go first?
I think you should go first.
Okay, let's do this. Am I the asshole for telling my friend she can get back in touch when she stops being perpetually busy? Okay. So, long story short, well, this is kind of long. I've had it with one of my friends. We've known each other for about 12 years. We met at uni, and now we're in mid-30s. She's the permanently busy type. If you know, you know. Always doing something, can't be alone with her thoughts for 1 second, hyper-extroverted, etc. She's a nice person, but that pattern of compulsive busyness got on my nerves from the start. Like, after we graduated, she worked part-time. That's it. For extra money, she let out the other bedrooms. This is clearly like an English person, I think.
So British, so British.
For extra money, she let out the other bedrooms in her house. No kids, no dogs, no serious partners, no ailing relatives. And despite working maximum 2 to 3 days a week, from 8 to 3, she was almost impossible to get a hold of. I lived 30 minutes away on foot, and we'd still see each other every 3 to 4 months at best. And every time the spiel was, I know it's been ages, but I'm just so busy. A few years ago, I moved, so we're now in different countries. I tried to stay in touch via WhatsApp, but even that's been falling apart. Over the lockdown, she got married and had 2 kids, so you can imagine how hard she is to get a hold of now that she actually has responsibilities and isn't just busy being busy. So for the past year now, our interactions have dwindled down to me sending her life updates and asking about hers, and her getting back weeks later if I'm lucky, months later, or not at all if I'm not, with a generic, so sorry, been so busy, but you're in my thoughts, how are you? Meanwhile, she's still pretty active on social media and regularly posting about all the fun things she gets up to with all those other people. So, to cut a long story short, I decided this means she's just not interested and trying to tell me nicely. I mean, how else am I supposed to take barely answering me? And if so, mostly just to remind me for the millionth time of just how busy she is, while simultaneously showing off all the things and the people she does miraculously find the time for. Now here's the kicker. She messaged me about 3 months after my last message, once again with a generic, so sorry, so busy, how are you? And I chose not to respond because I'm over it. A month later, last week, it was my birthday, and she sent a birthday message and sounded quite upset I hadn't responded to the previous one. I responded by telling her what I said in the title. What's the point of messaging you anyway when I already know how it's going to go? I'll pass. Let me know if you ever get less permanently busy and can keep in touch on a more substantial level than getting back to me months later just to remind me of how busy you are. I heard through the grapevine, mutual friends/acquaintances, that she's upset at how I talk to her. But I don't think I'm in the wrong here. Am I obligated to keep making an effort for someone who just can't or won't reciprocate? And for fuck's sake, isn't it bizarre to get upset when someone you clearly don't care enough about to make an effort to include in your life lets go?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of assumptions going on with this poster.
Yes.
First, I think that the person that she's writing about sounds kind of cool. Sounds like she has made a life that revolves around contentment, like we had just talked about, and not around work or obligation. And that is really the kind of life that most people would love to have, working 8 to 3 and then having time for adventures and friends and, hobbies is really the dream. And it seems to me that that is triggering to the poster. Did you get that vibe? I kind of get the vibe of like, what is she even doing anyway? She can't possibly have that much to do, when it sounds like she's a pretty well-rounded individual.
True. I think it's contradictory to see like the kind of busy that your friend is. Like their version of busy is hanging out with friends. It's just not you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand this friend's feelings of being left out. Like, you don't have to tell me, like, I get it, you're busy. You can say you're busy, but like, doesn't seem like there's any depth to their conversation.
Right.
And I think there's just, things aren't being reciprocated evenly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to get back with you because I have been getting back with literally everybody else except for you. Right.
I kind of like OP. I'm going to put this a little on them. Like, not that they're an asshole, but like, if you notice this type of behavior is not working for you, it's kind of your responsibility to bring it up to the friend.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the friend is telling you they're busy all the time and living their life, it doesn't mean that they know that they're actively hurting your feelings or leaving you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you telling them like, hey, I really want to be more involved in your life. How can we do that?
Right.
Give them a chance to learn more about how you're feeling. It sounds like OP just wants them to naturally involve them in everything. And that's not really fair.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that's why I said that there's a lot of assumptions, right? Especially when she made the assumption, like, obviously I'm not someone she cares about. What else could you possibly, glean from these interactions? Well, you could just straight up ask or say, hey, you have a lot of competing priorities right now. I'm going to focus on my friends that I see and engage with more regularly. It seems like you're doing the same. Wish you the best, but I don't know how you end that. I'm struggling on whether or not she was the asshole because it seems like she put herself in the situation. I'm assuming it's a she. We know it's a she?
It doesn't say.
Oh. Well, I'm only assuming it's a she because the subject of the email is a she. And I would just assume that it is a female-female friendship.
I would assume, but I really don't know.
Because if it's a male-female friendship, then we have a whole different dynamic to uncover and different motivations to uncover here. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to say that the OP is a woman. And I struggle on whether or not she is the asshole because it seems like she put herself in a position to get walked on a lot and wait to be invited to the dance and not get invited to the dance over and over again when she could have easily invited herself or said, hey, we have not seen each other in a while. If you would like to hang out, just give me a time frame and we will make it happen. But it seems like the OP was like in a very passive, like, oh, she'll pick me if she wants to pick me. And she hasn't. So I guess she hates me. Right?
Especially for someone who's had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
She's married with 2 kids now.
Yeah.
Life is very different post-COVID for this friend. When I consider any of my friends with 2 kids, which is a lot, we love to use Melissa as an example.
Mm-hmm.
If I acted like OP in this scenario, Melissa and I wouldn't be friends.
Right.
Because she is really freaking busy.
Mm-hmm.
She's terrible about replying to texts. She has a lot going on.
Yeah.
She's not always able to catch up. I just trust that she loves me because I consistently make sure that we hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I understand that needs to be done in our friendship because my life is not as hectic as hers.
Right.
And then when we do spend time together, I'm validated.
Mm-hmm.
I know she loves me and spending time with me. And like our friendship is solid. I don't feel like OP or the other friend are doing anything to solidify like what's happening here. Like they've drifted apart and they haven't had those difficult conversations that you need to have in order to stay connected. They're no longer connected. You don't know what's going on in each other's lives at all.
Right. It's clear that the other girl does have an interest because she was upset to have the same treatment bestowed upon her of a non-response. I think it would have been funnier if OP was like, sorry, so busy, and then just like didn't say anything after that. Like that's the text. But I would say not the asshole in theory, but kind of the asshole in execution.
I agree.
Because I just think putting it like, what's the point? You obviously, like, she's talking on behalf of somebody that she hasn't asked directly. Do you think that we're just not in each other's lives anymore? Like, should we just cut the bait and run? We don't have to keep doing this song and dance anymore.
Yeah.
Or just say, I've enjoyed keeping up with you on social media. Hope you and your family are well. I don't know, but like, it just seems to me that they're obviously, I don't know how you move forward as being friends anymore. You don't even live in the same country anymore. So already it's harder to stay connected. But it seems like she's harboring a lot of resentment for how she has been marginalized by this friend. And it sounds like she needed to sever this relationship.
Yeah.
And was maybe waiting for the perfect opportunity to have the upper hand. So that part makes me feel icky, where she's like, it's almost like she was waiting for the time when her friend reached out to her first so she could be the one to be a dick and then tell her how she really felt. I don't think that's very classy.
Nothing gets solved. And it seems like, I mean, in this story, OP said, like, they were bothered by the perpetual busyness early on. So, like, that seems to be a characteristic of this friend.
Right.
So, if you don't like that about them, then you guys just aren't well matched, and that's okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Also, instead of that rude response about your birthday, you could have just said thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks. Because then you did reply, but you're also, like, not engaging in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't think that, obviously we don't know everything here, but I just don't think the friend deserved that kind of like snappy.
Yeah, I agree. So now we have a judgment to make. Is she the asshole?
I think, like you said, the execution was asshole-ish. But in theory, like I can see, because I've had this happen. Friendships fall to the wayside. It wasn't meant to be. Sometimes friends are around for a season. And that just might be this, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think your friend being busy makes them an asshole, but it still sucks. I don't know. This one's tough for me.
I'm going to go asshole, but just barely, you know? Just barely the asshole, but 51% asshole.
Yeah.
All right. Declared.
And what's funny, guys, this story was actually, they were voted not the asshole, just FYI.
Oh, so we went against the grain.
We did.
All right, well,
not completely against it. We see both sides.
We do see both sides.
What's next?
Okay. Am I the asshole for telling my friend her quirky behavior is just being rude? I, 25 female, have a friend. Let's call her Sarah, 24 female, who's always been kind of unique. She's one of those people who prides herself on being quirky and different. And while I get that, sometimes it crosses a line into being rude or inconsiderate. She will often interrupt people mid-conversation to share her random thoughts, even if it's completely off topic. She's also really loud and makes awkward comments about personal things, like loudly asking a couple if they've ever considered an open relationship at a dinner party, or commenting on someone's weight without any filter. I've talked to her about it in a nice way before, saying that sometimes it feels like she's not even really paying attention to the social dynamics or how others might feel, but she brushes it off with, I'm just being myself, take it or leave it. This weekend, we were at a gathering, and she made a huge scene by loudly criticizing a mutual friend's new haircut. It was a bad cut, but she didn't need to say anything. I finally snapped and told her that she's not being quirky, she's just being rude. And it's really starting to get on my nerves. She was really upset, said I was trying to suppress her personality, and that I don't appreciate her for who she is. Now she's ignoring me, and our friend group is divided. Am I the asshole for calling her out, or should I have just let her continue with her quirky behavior?
I don't consider that quirky.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if because she's calling it quirky, if like she's neurodivergent in some way.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't read social cues the same way.
Absolutely. I mean this so lovingly, but it sounds like the friend has just a touch of the 𝗬𝗏, and that's okay. And that is okay. It clearly is difficult for her to I struggle. It's either difficult for her to understand social dynamics or she doesn't care. Yeah. And I definitely know people who do not care what other people think about them. And those are the most dangerous people, in my opinion. Those people scare me.
Yes. If her identity is wrapped up in being quirky, like she's excusing ever being rude. Like asking a couple about being in an open relationship, that's rude on multiple levels. That's nobody's business.
No, I know.
And I also think there's a difference between being quirky and being socially disruptive.
Right.
Like you're making everyone uncomfortable. And if I'm the OP in this situation, like I'm going to try to be the peacekeeper. I'm trying to keep everybody cool and happy. And like that's exhausting. I don't want to be around a friend that emotionally drains me like that.
Right. I could never be friends with this person. If every time we were in a mixed social setting, I was just like waiting for this person to say or do something that is going to make other people uncomfortable. No, couldn't do it. My people pleaser self could never handle this dynamic at all. So the fact that they've been friends for as long as they have is a testament to the poster. I will say the irony is insane that she has made people feel uncomfortable before, and the second she gets a taste of what that feels like to be put on the spot in front of other people, she collapses. Like, that is rich.
She's deflecting with victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
She's accusing you of trying to change her. She's being emotionally manipulative.
Yeah. And it lacks empathy on all fronts.
Yes.
And that just feels like a very, like you said, manipulative and potentially like you're never going to get through to this person. If this person cannot say, oh, wow, I guess I just experienced what I've put other people through and I need to change my ways.
Yeah.
If they're not seeing that message, then they're never going to have empathy for other people.
Right. Hurting people's feelings is not okay.
No.
And it's okay to say things that maybe you should have thought about saying beforehand, and someone calls you out on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's your responsibility to own up to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like for her to not feel bad about shaming someone about their haircut.
Yeah. In front of other people too. Like in front of other people. No.
You're just being a bully.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing quirky about that. That's just awful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think this friend did everything that they could. And by doing what she did, she stood up for the girl who was probably feeling terrible, you know? And there is something satisfying if you're the person who's being bullied to see somebody else be like, dude, cut it out.
Yes.
That is like, okay, cool. Everybody here is not against me. That person is wrong. You know what I mean? So I think that this quirky little bitch is the asshole and that the poster is the hero.
I agree. Like neurodivergent or not, I think she has the wherewithal to understand when someone's explaining to you, hey, when you said this, that was very hurtful to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should think about how you phrase things next time. Anyone can be like, oh, okay, can you give me some examples? Like if they really don't understand, like what should I have said instead? This person is not doing any of that.
No.
They just don't care that they are trashing on other people's feelings.
Right. And you know what? I will say, had we known with certainty that this person was on the spectrum or neurodivergent, I might be a little more compassionate.
Yeah.
But since we don't know that, I'm just going to assume that she can do better and does not want to. And therefore, I would just hate to be in any social situation with this person.
She just sounds like a brat.
Yeah.
There's just nothing fun about it. There's not a single fun thing about this whole story. Like, I would have been mortified standing next to my friend who said any of that stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Good on OP for calling them out, because I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
So OP,
not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Declared.
Declared.
My turn. Am I the asshole for refusing to share my streaming after my friend canceled hers to save money? I have subscriptions to a few streaming services that I pay for myself. My friend used to have her own accounts, but a few months ago, she told me she was canceling them to save money. She joked that she could just use mine instead since I already pay for them. At first, I thought she was kidding, but after she canceled her subscriptions, she kept asking for my login info. I told her I wasn't comfortable sharing since I pay for these services myself and don't want anyone messing with my recommendations or getting me locked out for too many users. She called me stingy and said that since I wouldn't even notice her using it, I should just let her. I still said no, and now she's upset and said I'm being selfish over something that costs me nothing extra. But I feel like she made the choice to cancel her accounts and shouldn't expect me to cover for her. Am I the asshole for refusing to share my streaming accounts?
Oof. This is a very interesting friendship dynamic.
Yeah, like, how close of friends are you? And regardless, it's very presumptuous,
right,
to just assume that your friend's going to share all their streaming logins with you when you're not reciprocating anything in return.
Right. Especially being like, oh, I'm just going to cut all this stuff because you'll give it to me for free, right?
Yeah. I'm going to save money while you spend money. Thanks, friend.
Right. And nothing extra. Yes, it is extra. You're paying for it. That's the extra part.
Yeah. Like, make it a more mutual scenario. Like, hey, I've been wanting to save money. I was thinking, like, if I delete my Hulu, could I use your login? But I'll keep my Apple TV and you can use my login for that. Like, then everybody saves money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They should have had a discussion up front about this to make sure everything was cool or to see if there was some reciprocal nature, because there is an art form in the sharing of logins, right? You give, you take, everything comes out in the wash. Sometimes you're the one receiving all the login info. Sometimes you're sharing with multiple people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I would never do, even you have been so gracious as to say, hey, if you want access to this platform, which I shall not mention in order to protect your user ability, let me know and I'll give you the login. And I'm like, you know what? That's very sweet, but I'm fine. You know, like I'll watch it another time or I'll wait for it to come XYZ. That is like so generous. I would never just be like, Robin, give it to me. Give me. You got it. Who cares? Give me. Like, I would never do that. That's an insane assumption to make. But I also think that the poster could have a little bit more compassion.
Sure. I think they could have taken that opportunity to set their own boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the friend brought it up before they canceled their stuff.
Yeah.
And joked about using their login. Why don't you just make sure that that wasn't a joke? Hey, like, were you really joking? Because if this is a thing that you want to do, I'd like to talk more about it to where it's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe the friend even felt empowered to ask because when she threw it out there, the friend didn't say, no, you're not. Right?
Yeah. Like, did the friend just laugh it off too because they assumed they were joking?
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. And now it's like, oh, she's cool with it.
How'd you think that was a joke? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah. It's not funny.
When do we ever joke about sharing streaming
right.
logins? Like,
no. Yeah.
I think also calling OP stingy is manipulative. I mean, it's their right to say no.
Yeah.
I don't know how they said no, but they're allowed to say no.
They're allowed to say no, right? Especially to a question that was not even asked of them. It was just assumed.
No.
So
it was assumed.
OP definitely allowed to say no, but I would also say, you know, I feel like a compromise would really be made if this was a good friend.
Yeah.
I think you could have struck a deal, right? You could have put together some kind of compromise saying, I will give you access for 2 months, and then I'm going to change up the passwords. So get in while you can, and then I'm taking it back over. It just sounds like she is not the person who helps her friends in times of need, maybe.
Or maybe this friend is known for taking advantage of her.
Yeah.
Maybe this was like the last straw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm kind of sick of being walked all over when you do nothing to make me feel appreciated and valued.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the case.
Yeah, that could be. Either way, I don't think what the OP did is an asshole thing to do. Could she have done it a little bit more gracefully? Yeah. But she was reacting to a very presumptuous act by her friend, and she had to put the smack down, and she did.
Yeah, I think the friend made some major assumptions here, and then being told no to react negatively to that, it's like, you're the asshole in both parts of this.
Mm-hmm.
The OP is just reacting to you.
Right. Coming right back to you in a different flavor. So,
yeah.
I would declare...
Not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
Declared. Last story, you're up.
Here we go. Let's finish strong. There will be a lot of cursing in this next dramatic reading.
I'm excited.
Am I the asshole for insulting my friend? For context, my friend, female 21, and I, female 21, have been close since high school. We often like teasing each other. My friend is a little overweight, but I've never pointed it out. Also, I'm quite underweight. I was diagnosed with an eating disorder at 19, and my friend is well aware of this. Already, this is setting the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, in some playful banter, my friend called me, quote unquote, fat. And I said, look who's talking. My friend got offended and raised her voice at me in a bustling cafeteria. The whole table turned to hear her. She called me dumb fat bitch. And then later contradicted herself by saying I look like a paper in the worst way possible, pale and thin from the side. She's just hurling out every insult she can find. She also went on to say, I'm not a real woman because I'm flat-chested. I can't deny that. She later reiterated that nobody would want me because I'm dumb, flat, and look sick, bony, and pale. Pa-pa.
Jesus.
Too many punches. Also, she got kind of aggressive in the end and expressed her urge to pull out my ugly teeth. I have Invisalign for my bony tooth. For more context, we're South Asian by the ethnicity, and the beauty standard here is to be curvaceous and fair. My friend is quite curvaceous, but still insecure about her weight and complexion. After this outburst, she went back to acting normal, and I just went along with it because I felt guilty for implying that she's fat. Should I tell my friend that I was hurt by what she said or brush it off because she sounded like an insecure middle schooler?
I would not brush that off.
No.
That comment that she made was impulsive. That was an impulsive response.
Yeah.
It was not meant to be malicious. And her friend's gut reaction is to immediately rip her to shreds. Like, I don't care how deeply insecure you are. You don't talk to a friend that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was cutting deep intentionally, which probably means that's how she feels inside. And like, I don't know their friendship history. If you want to have compassion and work through that, great. But I would not ignore it.
No, I would not. There's clearly a ton of insecurity racking her friend. And maybe some of it stems from the weight difference between the two.
Sure.
And that can be difficult to manage. You know, like I have friends that are much skinnier than me. And I do always kind of carry a little insecurity about that. So if someone had said to me, look who's talking, that would have cut me so deep because that would have showed me this is how you always have seen me. You always have thought of me as the bigger friend, the fat friend.
Yeah.
So I can't say that if I would have received that it wouldn't have hurt me deeply.
Totally.
But she could have just stopped at dumb fat bitch. Okay. She could have just stopped there. That would have been enough. But to pile on, it just seems like she was like, I am not going to stop until I sufficiently hurt you as badly as you hurt me. But the difference is the friend said it accidentally and, like you said, impulsively. Could it have been revealing a reality that they were both trying to ignore? Yes. But did she say it in a means to hurt her friend? No. They were having friendly banter. The friend made a intentional decision to be hurtful and sling so many insults that way. It's almost like you had those at the ready. Like, did you write these down in a notebook somewhere? Like, have you been rehearsing this in a mirror to like say to me? Because these are some crazy insults.
Mm-hmm. The difference for me is OP didn't even have the opportunity to backtrack on what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure as soon as she said it, she was like, oh, crap. Like, I didn't consider how that would be received, what it actually means that my friend would actually be affected by this comment.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get to apologize, or neither of them like actually talked through their feelings about it. The friend just went straight into humiliation.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cruel and aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then to act like everything's normal, like, that's triggering for me.
Yeah.
That is very triggering.
Right. And that's crazy that she went along with it. Like, no, thank you. What's so funny is that I really just picture two middle schoolers doing this. It's funny because she said they sounded like insecure middle schoolers. But what made me think that is because it happened in a cafeteria.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and they are 21. Like,
yeah.
They probably still don't have the emotional tools to express their hurt in a healthy way.
Right.
But that still doesn't excuse.
No, just the total pile-on of insults. Like, absolutely not. I mean, if they met and became close in high school, you say some vicious shit to each other.
Yes. Yes.
You don't know any boundaries. You don't know any decorum. So maybe it's still just like bled over from a period of time where you were just hormonal and a total animal. But like, it's crazy that this person is even like, am I the asshole? No, honey, you are not the asshole. For literally taking it like a champ, one insult after another. Like, no. But you do probably need to get a little bit more of a backbone and have an honest conversation with your friend about their insecurities and maybe even some of yours. Like, I think there's a perception that if you are skinny, it is easier for you. So her friend who's overweight may also have residual resentment that like, well, you're skinny, so you don't know what it's like to be insecure.
Yeah. Who cares if you have an eating disorder? At least you're skinny from it.
Yeah. At least you're a size 0. Like, that's such an incorrect assumption.
Yeah.
That there's probably just a ton that they need to like work through if they want to continue to be friends.
Yeah. And like, if this is a best friend or one of your best friends, the idea that one of the people closest to you has no problem like weaponizing your insecurities, that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't trust that person.
No, this is not the person that you're going to feel comfortable later on saying like, I've never told this to anyone before, but I, want to get a boob job. Like, I'm feeling really insecure about this, or, anything that you would let your guard down by, because who knows if that friend's going to throw it back in your face.
Yeah. I think OP needs to take this opportunity to either like try to work through this or take some space.
Mm-hmm.
Let that friend know like, hey, this friendship dynamic, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's not working for me right now.
Right.
Maybe we should take some time apart.
Yeah. Or I am still in treatment for this eating disorder. And I know that you were retaliating, but a lot of what you said is really impacting my recovery. So I need to take a break.
Yeah. Separate from that, if OP like isn't ready to cut this friendship off in that way, like have a conversation around like, hey, I know we joke and I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but what you said to me was not okay. It stuck with me. And I don't want this kind of energy between us. Like, how can we move forward? See how your friend responds then.
Mm-hmm.
I think the decision will be made for you because this friend is either going to stay defensive and reactive, or now that y'all have had some time to calm down, they can admit their faults.
Yeah.
That's what's going to save this friendship. Can you admit your faults? Can you own up to it? And can you work really hard not to say something like that again? Or are you a loose cannon?
Yeah.
Who might just shoot insults anytime you please when it's convenient for you? Like, I can't be around someone like that personally.
Yeah. I can't be friends with you, but I know a quirky little asshole that would get along with you just great.
She wouldn't have a problem calling you fat.
No, you guys could insult each other all day and roll with the punches.
Oh, man, that would be the most toxic friendship.
Yes, 100%. Stay away.
Okay, so OP, I'm going to say not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Declare it. Love when it comes full circle like that.
Okay, it's time for our favorite feel-good moment, Class Act of the Week, where we highlight a person, moment, or even a tiny gesture that reminds us the world isn't totally unhinged. Whether it's a small act of kindness or someone going above and beyond, we're here for it. Deborah, who's your class act of the week?
Okay, so I had a really interesting experience last week on TikTok. My own TikTok. This is not a parasocial class act of the week. So I made a video genuinely asking how people would describe the culture of Columbus, because having just come back from Austin, and even when I was in Austin, people would ask me what it is like here, if I like it, what's the vibe. And alternately, when I tell people that I moved here from Austin, some people will dare to say, I heard that Austin and Columbus are very similar, to which I always say, no, they're not. So I posted a TikTok just saying, I genuinely curious, like, how would you describe the culture of Columbus? And you cannot talk about football. And I got pummeled with comments.
Comments?
I got pummeled with comments saying that Columbus has no culture. So many people just saying, like, it's a bland strip mall, there's no soul, it's segregated into different neighborhoods. And then a lot of people defending this city, naming different things to do. And one point that was made that I will wholeheartedly agree with, it's a great place to raise a family. It's very communal, it's affordable. But it was a really mixed bag. So I made a follow-up video basically saying, like, look, I'm not here to be a negative Nancy. I don't want to keep not enjoying where I live. So here are the things I do like. Here's some restaurants I have liked going to and some places I enjoyed living. It's just that, Austin has such a tangible culture, even though it has evolved and changed drastically. It's so tangible, whereas I've had a hard time identifying what I would call the persona of someone who lives in Columbus. I get a DM from a man, and before you're like, ooh, it wasn't like that. He said, I have so enjoyed this commentary on Austin and Columbus. And I'm assuming this person owns the restaurant or maybe is a manager or something. But he said, I recently worked with a former chef from 𝗬𝗪cie𝘂'𝗋 from Austin to help me design my menu at this Japanese tea house that we've just opened. I would love for you to experience it. If you let me know your name, I will leave a gift card for you at the hostess stand so that you can check it out and hopefully you'll enjoy it and maybe get a little taste of Austin while you're here as well. And I thought that was so classy and sweet. He could have easily been like, you know what, lady, you have some nerve coming on here and like cultivating this conversation about this city. And, we have this, we have that. But he was like, no, let me show you that we do have an innovative food scene. Because that's one thing I did say is that I didn't feel like the food scene here was that innovative. I think it's good. There's plenty of great restaurants here. But I mean, you think of Austin, there's just like so many not clashes, but like
fusions.
There we go, of food there. So yeah, it is called 𝗪𝗍ci Tea House. And it is in the short north of Columbus. And I'm going to take myself on a date there tomorrow.
Aw, that's great.
I know. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should really start to do a series of like learning to love Columbus.
That's a great idea.
And really take myself to different locations, meet different people, join different organizations, and try to build off of that energy. So it was a good way to put a new perspective on how I've been seeing this town and a way to invite me into the culture here. So my class act goes to that gentleman for extending, I don't want to say an olive branch, but extending an arm out and saying, come on, get in here, you. You're a part of this city. A friendship branch.
A business branch.
There we go.
A networking branch.
Any kind of branch, really.
That's a lovely class act.
Thank you.
Aw. It's time for our final segments, class or crass. And this week, we're talking about turning down a friend's request to crash at your place. Here's the scenario. Your friend is visiting town and assumes they can crash at your place. You say no. You're either too busy, don't have the space, or just need your time alone. They seem surprised and a little hurt. Is that classy boundary setting or crass for turning down a friend in need?
So this is tricky because sometimes you have friends that you have certain conveniences with, right?
Totally.
You slept on their couch before, or you would always open your home out to them, and you can live in a very comfortable place, like maybe even to the point where you can walk into a friend's house and just grab something out of their fridge because every time you go there, they're like, help yourself. And then you finally do help yourself. So it's challenging because there have been times, like even when I came to Austin and you're like, where are you staying? And I was like, with you. Right?
I told you were welcome to stay here, but then you never said that you were going to. So I just didn't know if you were going to stay at Melissa's or Ashley's.
Yeah. No, totally.
But I understood the confusion.
Yeah. I was like, uh-oh, wait a second. I have overstayed my welcome. So in this hypothetical situation, the person who's requesting and gets told no seems surprised and a little hurt. If you are someone in this position and you are asking somebody, hey, is it okay if I crash with you while I'm in town? You have to be prepared for that person to say no.
Absolutely.
If you cannot handle them saying no, then they are not the person to ask.
Yes.
Right? If you know that about yourself, it's like what I tell my kids before we play a board game, mostly my youngest. If you are not prepared to lose, I will not play this game with you. We are not playing just so that you can win. I'm not just going to, you know what I mean? Like if you cannot handle losing, if that's going to destroy the rest of your night, then I'm not going to play this with you because that is a real possibility. So you always need to put those expectations in the right frame when you are asking something of someone that they have every single right to say no.
In this scenario, it looks like the friend is already in town and they still haven't planned where they're staying. That's on the friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like I get it. You get comfortable. You make assumptions. You're kind of like, I just assumed I could stay there. And for the most part, maybe that's okay. But this particular instance, maybe the person is just really burnt out. Maybe they've been working overtime. Maybe the kids have been sick, whatever the reason. Or maybe they just don't want to hang out at the moment, right?
Yeah.
They want to have their normal Saturday routine. They want to wake up early, go to the gym. They don't want to have to coddle and make breakfast and chit chat. Hosting is an emotional labor that not everybody is prepared to do. So
yeah,
I think saying no gently and just saying, I would love to have you. This is not a good time for me to have people over right now. Maybe you can ask so-and-so. Would love to hang out while you're in town. I'm not in a position to host anybody at the moment.
Yeah. And I understand the confusion, especially if you have hosted this friend before. But for me, I never assume. Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to staying in someone else's home.
Yeah.
Like I always ask. I never assume that it's implied just because I'm coming to visit you that you have to let me stay with you. Obviously, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
You hope that's the case, but it's not always going to be the case.
No.
And timing matters, like it could just be a bad time.
Right. Yeah. So don't ask if you're not prepared to hear no as an answer. And you are the keeper of your sanity. If you cannot handle somebody else staying with you, you have every right to say no and set classy boundaries for yourself. So I'm going to say it is classy to tell your friend, scram, clown.
Scram, clown.
Get out of here, you.
Get out of here.
Get to stepping.
Go back to the circus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough scenario because it depends on your relationship with the friend. There's a lot of variables, but what it comes down to is if you are the friend visiting from out of town, you're in charge of your own accommodations, like whether that's asking someone or booking your own hotel. Like, we're adults here. You got to figure it out on your own. You can't make assumptions that just because this has been your best friend since you were 10 and you've stayed with them in the past, that you can stay with them this time. That's not what that means.
No.
And it doesn't mean anything bad. It's not a rejection.
Right.
It's just somebody setting boundaries. And setting boundaries can be uncomfortable, especially when the boundaries are being set on you. And some people don't respond well to that.
Right. Yeah, because they're used to pushing those boundaries.
Yes.
Or ignoring them entirely.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you got to say crash somewhere else, I think that's classy.
Class or crash.
Class or crash somewhere else. Well, that's it for today's Am I the Asshole Roundup. If one of those stories reminded you of a real-life friendship dilemma, send it our way. We love hearing from listeners, and your stories might just end up in a future episode.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Art of Classiness. You can also email us your class act of the week, friendship meet cutes, or class or crass scenarios at artofclassiness@gmail.com.
Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next time. And remember, classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness. Bye.